Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unlocking a new playbook for teaching in our digital age. And it's all built on some really fascinating research that shows why just throwing more tech at a classroom doesn't work and what actually does.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with a puzzle that, a lot of educators are wrestling with. Our schools are packed with incredible technology. We're talking smart boards, tablets, all this amazing software, but when you look at the results, student achievement doesn't always reflect that huge investment. So what's really going on here?
To make this super concrete, let's look at the actual data from one school that researchers studied. Their sixth graders' average national science score was just 29.30. That's way below the national average. And here's the kicker. They had the technology. So clearly, just having the tools wasn't the answer. And this brings us to something we can call the technology trap. It's this belief, and it's a really common one, that just adding more devices or more software is the solution. But the research we're digging into today shows that this approach usually fails because it's missing the bigger picture. We need a much more thoughtful strategy. And that strategy, well, it has a name: TPACK. It's a framework that totally reframes how we should be thinking about technology in education. So let's break down exactly what it is and why it's so darn effective.
TPACK stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. I know, that is a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple and incredibly powerful. It's not about just knowing how to use the tech. It's about this really thoughtful, intentional blend of three core types of knowledge that every great teacher already uses. It all starts with these three pillars. So first, you've got content knowledge. That's the what. The subject itself, right? The facts, the concepts. Second is pedagogical knowledge. That's the how, the art and science of teaching, your strategies. And third, of course, is technological knowledge, understanding the tools you have at your disposal. But listen, the real power of TPACK isn't in these pillars by themselves. So where does the magic happen? It's not in any one of those pillars alone. It's right here, in the overlap. The very heart of TPACK is this sweet spot where teachers' expertise in their subject, their teaching methods, and the right technology all come together. This is where tech stops being a distraction and actually starts doing its job. As Mishra and Kohler, the guys who came up with this framework, pointed out, this blend has always been the mark of a great teacher. They've always known how to match the perfect teaching style to the right content. TPACK just adds that final, crucial, modern layer, choosing the right tech to make that perfect pair even better. Okay, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty good, right? But what does this actually look like in a real classroom? Well, let's check out this really fascinating case study that focused on teaching science to elementary school kids. The problem was a classic one. You've got fourth graders who are struggling with these really abstract science topics. How do you explain a chemical change or the properties of matter? Stuff that's really hard to visualize, that you can't always just see with your own eyes. It's a tough teaching challenge. And this is exactly where TPACK came in. Instead of just passing out tablets and hoping for the best, the teachers designed these specific learning pathways. They started with a content goal. Okay, to teach the difference between physical and chemical changes, they chose a self-directed learning approach and supported it with an interactive web simulation. For understanding atoms, they used an inquiry model with digital microscopes. See? Every tool was picked for a very specific teaching purpose. And the results? They were nothing short of dramatic. After learning with this TPACK model, the students' average scores for analytical thinking didn't just go up a little bit, they took a huge leap, from about a 13 to over a 22. This shows they weren't just memorizing facts, they were fundamentally changing how they could think about science.
And this wasn't just some one-off fluke in a science class. The same exact principles were applied in a totally different subject: middle school math. The challenge here was different, but it's one we've all seen. You've got seventh graders who can, follow the steps to plot a graph, but do they really get the relationship between the equation and the line? Not always. The goal was to build that deep conceptual understanding that worksheets just can't deliver.
So researchers used the TPACK framework and picked a specific tool, the Desmos platform, and they designed an activity that felt way more like a game than a math lesson. Students had to plot coordinates to land a rocket on a virtual moon. They weren't just calculating, they were exploring, getting instant feedback, and actively learning by doing. It was fun. And this slide illustrates the difference between shallow and deep learning just perfectly. So after the activity, 93% of students could follow the instructions. That's the action level. But, and this is amazing, a remarkable 43% reached the object level. That means they could take that concept, really internalize it, and use it to solve new problems they hadn't seen before. That is a massive jump in real understanding. So what about the students? Did they like it? Oh, yeah. They absolutely loved it. They rated their overall satisfaction at a super high 4.47 out of 5. And what's really fascinating is that the thing they rated the highest was the technology and media. It just goes to show you, when it's used the right way, tech isn't a distraction, it's a huge source of engagement. So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway from all this. TPACK is not a piece of software you can buy, it's not a gadget, it's not even about having the latest and greatest tech. It is a fundamental shift in mindset. It's how we plan our teaching. It gives us this simple but incredibly powerful order of operations. Step 1, you always start with the content. What do my students really need to learn? Step 2, you choose your pedagogy. What's the best way to actually teach this? And only then, the final step, you ask that critical question: what technology will make this lesson even better? And as these studies we've looked at show, the evidence for this mindset is it's compelling. Across different subjects, different age groups, when technology was integrated this thoughtfully, it boosted analytical thinking, it improved test scores, it built deep knowledge, and it got students genuinely excited about learning. Ultimately, this framework takes technology from being this shiny object or a potential headache and turns it into a precise, powerful tool for building real understanding. It offers a whole new playbook for unlocking student potential. So the real question isn't just about what tech we should use, it's about what our students can truly achieve when we finally start using it right.